We're so excited about what God has been doing the past several months here in East Timor, and we're so excited to have you along on the ride. We just wanted to share a quick testimony of how God has come through for our ministry center. We started to pray on this next chapter, so we looked around for houses or a ministry center that could facilitate what God has on our hearts to do this coming year. So we are looking for houses, and the first house that we came across that a real estate agent showed us, of course, was out of our budget. It was a 7-bedroom house, and there's 2 levels to this place. And so we came, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. However, we knew that it was out of our budget. So we walked away. The house was perfect, but we didn't feel that it was the right time. So we looked at different houses that following week. 1 week later, I get random calls and messages from a number, and it was the landlord who said, hey, we want to give you the opportunity to rent our place, and we want to work with you. So we met with them, and she just poured out her heart on how she never felt peace since the day we left. You see, she's a devout Catholic woman, and she prays every day. She even has a special room in her house devoted to prayer. And she would feel the several days after we left that she said that God told her, call the pastor. God told her, call the pastor, because we had been upfront with what we wanted to do. It was going to be a ministry center, that we were going to be using it to train missionaries and pastors. However, she felt so much peace in calling us that she turned down many offers. On separate occasions, her husband also felt that they needed to contact us. So one time, as she was about to go to bed, she said that her husband turned over and told her, we need to call the pastor. They weren't talking about the prayer times. They didn't even know that God was speaking to them separately, but that was a direct confirmation that they needed to call us and for us to find a deal. So we just felt so blessed to hear that part of their story. So they asked us, what can you do? Now, we told them we don't have the money. We were just coming to look forward to the future and look for places. However, they said, what can you do? I told them again, we don't have the money. They asked again, what can you do? So we talked about it, Mel and I, and Mel just came out with an offer that was about $500 less than what was posted online. And so the lady discussed with her husband, and they turned back and they said, well, we can take it down $100 less. So from about $1,800 that was posted online to now they're offering us about $1,200. And we were like, oh my gosh, God is definitely moving. They had asked for $15,000 for 1 year's worth of rent, which is the usual norm here. But we didn't have $15,000. We told them we don't have $15,000. We don't even have $7,500, which is 6 months worth of rent. But what we do have is $3,000. Can you accept it or not? Will this work? So they looked at each other, and they looked back and they said, we accept. We told them, we don't know where the rest is going to come from, but if God is in this, He will provide. And as the money comes in, we will give it over to you guys. So we prayed with them, and we just believed that God would provide not just for us, a home for us, for the ministry center, but also for them, because they needed the money for their kids' schooling who were overseas. In the next 2 weeks, I tell you that God had opened up the doors. We had several people that we had come in contact with who wanted to partner with us, and within 2 weeks, we had $15,000. That is a testimony of how God can provide for His work here. So I was so excited to call them and tell them 2 weeks later that God provided $15,000. And I'm telling you, God is working in their hearts, and we believe that God has great plans for this partnership moving forward. So we celebrate what God is about to do in this next season of our ministry here, because this ministry center will serve 2 purposes. Number one, it'll be a training center to train missionaries and pastors, local missionaries and pastors, to go and plant their own churches and also equip them as they're doing the work. The second part of this ministry center, as God's placed on our heart, is we wanted to make it available to be a hostel for university students and high school students who travel hours from the villages to live in the city, and many of them don't have good living conditions and even end up in troubled situations. Therefore, we believe that God is going to open up doors for us to bring in these young people and disciple them on a daily basis. So we are so excited at the great opportunities that He has in store for this ministry center.
Thank you for praying with us and supporting us. and joining us for this exciting adventure in faith. Bye!